over a potential safety issue. The automaker began voluntarily recalling hundreds of thousands of Prius hybrids.
They keep telling you the cheap, bulletproof car is extinct. That reliable transportation under $5,000 died with flip phones and common sense. Meanwhile, the average used car now costs $25,373. And they're laughing all the way to the bank while you're drowning in payments. But what if I told you there are still diamonds hiding in plain sight? One wrong click drains $2,000 from your emergency fund tonight. So where are the ghost deals the dealers don't advertise? They don't want you finding the cars that never break down because reliable cars kill their service department profits. Here's what happened when I started digging into the real numbers they hope you'll never see. The Edmunds data shows something terrifying. The gap between new and used car prices just hit $20,000 for the first time in automotive history. While you're getting crushed by payments that stretch 7 years, they're manufacturing scarcity to keep you desperate and dependent. But it gets worse. Those 25% tariffs hitting in April 2025, they're about to slam the showroom doors shut on anyone making under 6 figures. The same politicians promising to help working families just made your next car payment impossible. Here's what they're terrified you'll discover. Mechanics across America are hoarding certain models. Cars so reliable that repair shops lose money when you drive one. Cars that taxi drivers whisper about in parking lots like underground resistance secrets. Cars that laugh at 200,000 miles and keep running when everything else dies. Comment below if you've seen prices jump in your zip code, because what I'm about to show you could save your financial life while destroying their business model. They said the bulletproof Corolla was a myth, that modern cars are too complicated to last. They were lying to protect their repair revenue streams and keep you trapped in payment cycles. Meet Lisa Rodriguez, night shift nurse at Denver General. Her 2010 Corolla has 263,000 miles and tells a survival story that would make a war correspondent jealous. The AC rattles like a paint can full of bolts. The key fob is held together with electrical tape and prayers. The silver paint has faded to dishwater gray, and there's a shopping cart battle scar on the hood. This car just refuses to die, Lisa tells me, patting that dented hood with genuine affection. I bought it 3 years ago with 190,000 miles for $4,200. Everyone said I was crazy. My dad said I was throwing money away. My mechanic said I'd be back in 6 months for a new engine. But here's the thing they don't want you to know about cars that destroy their profit margins. Lisa drives 60 miles round trip every single day, night shifts, double shifts, through Denver winters that kill lesser cars, through summer heat that melts asphalt. While your neighbor's financing a $45,000 SUV with a 7-year loan that'll follow them to the grave, Lisa's laughing all the way to the bank. That 1.8-liter 1ZZFE engine? Mechanics have seen them hit 350,000 miles with nothing but oil changes, and that terrifies dealerships. The dealers hate cars like this because reliable cars kill their business model. And you're about to see exactly why. One more Colorado winter and this Corolla could fold in half from rust damage eating through the rocker panels like cancer. They want you focused on the cosmetic damage while ignoring what really matters. But here's what Lisa's mechanic Mike Rodriguez didn't mention when he gave me the doom and gloom diagnosis. Mike's been fixing cars for 23 years in Denver. He's seen Subarus with blown head gaskets, Audis with timing chain failures, and BMWs with electrical systems that would confuse NASA engineers. A $40 DIY patch kit buys her 2 more years. Easy, Mike admits when I press him for the whole truth. These 1.8-liter engines, I've seen them hit 350,000 miles with nothing but oil changes every 5,000 miles. The body might be falling apart, but that motor will outlive us all. While the dealership wants $150 just to diagnose why your check engine light is on, Lisa's Corolla purrs like it's brand new. Still starts first turn in freezing rain at 6 a.m. Still idles smooth as silk after a 12-hour shift. Mike shows me Lisa's maintenance records in a manila folder. Oil changes every 4,800 miles like clockwork. One timing chain at 180,000 miles for $400. One alternator at 220,000 miles for $120. That's it. That's the entire repair history of a car that's driven to the moon and back. But our next survivor? People laugh at it until they drive it. They convinced an entire generation that manual transmissions are dead, that CVTs are the future. They're setting you up for financial disaster. College kid Pat Williams daily drives a 2005 Civic DX with 232,000 miles, and it's become legendary on the University of Colorado campus. Students point at it in parking lots, professors ask about it after class. It's the car that proves you don't need daddy's money to have reliable transportation. Best tuition I ever paid, Pat grins, leaning against the faded blue hatchback that's seen more all-nighters than the library. $4,100, and it's never left me stranded, not once. Not even when I forgot to change the oil for 8,000 miles because I was cramming for finals. His roommate Jake bought a 2018 Civic with the CVT transmission last semester. Financed it for 6 years at 8% interest because his credit score looked like a phone number from the 1950s, already shuddering at 80,000 miles, already making that whining noise that sounds like a dying robot, already scheduled for a $3,200 transmission replacement. The manual transmission in Pat's car is your insurance policy against repair bills that cost more than the car is worth. It's also your guarantee of 35 miles per gallon instead of the 28 that Jake's CVT manages on a good day. But here's the CVT trap they're not telling you about. Here's the thing about CVT failures that nobody talks about until it's too late and you're staring at a repair estimate that makes you question every life choice you've ever made. They cost more than the car is worth, and they fail with the reliability of a Swiss watch. A 2015 Nissan Altima with a blown CVT transmission? You're staring at $3,000 to fix a car that Kelley Blue Book says is worth $2,500 on a good day. The math doesn't work. You're better off pushing it into the nearest lake. Jake's roommate found this out the hard way last month. His 2016 Sentra started making grinding noises at 75,000 miles. The dealer quoted him $3,400 for a new CVT. The car was worth $2,800. He ended up trading it in for $800 and rolling the negative equity into a new loan that'll follow him around like a bad credit score, but buy stick shift and you get instant CVT immunity. Pat's Civic will outlive 3 newer automatics, and he'll save enough money to buy a house while his friends are making car payments that stretch into the next decade. The manual also means Pat gets to actually drive his car instead of being a passenger in an overly complicated computer on wheels. When something breaks, he can fix it with basic tools and YouTube tutorials. When Jake's car breaks, it needs a computer diagnostic that costs $150 just to figure out what's wrong. They want you to believe American cars can't compete with Japanese reliability. That domestic engineering is inferior. They're dead wrong about this one. Jim Thompson's ex-police Crown Vic has 288,000 miles, and it's still a beast. A relic from an era when cars were built like tanks, not like soda cans engineered for EPA points. The black paint's sun-faded, the spotlight's long gone, but that 4.6-liter V8 still rumbles like it's chasing suspects on I-70. Peace of mind is priceless, Jim says, patting the door frame reinforced thick enough to eat a baseball bat for breakfast. This thing's built like a vault, body on frame. Not like those unibody cars that crumple if you breathe on them wrong. He bought it at a Colorado Springs police auction for $2,600, 5 years and 186,000 miles ago. It's been to California, Florida, Canada. Hauled boats, trailers, and Jim's entire life when he moved cities. Yes, it drinks gas, 15 miles per gallon on a good day. But parts? $400 from the junkyard keeps it alive. The alternator, water pump, starter, and radiator together cost less than an oil change on a German badge. While your environmentally conscious neighbor lectures you about fuel economy, Jim sleeps well knowing his car will start tomorrow. Let's do the math that'll make your wallet cry and your accountant have a nervous breakdown. They want you focused on fuel costs while ignoring the real numbers. The Crown Vic drinks $2,400 more gas per year than a Prius. Over 10 years, that's $24,000 in extra fuel costs. Your financial advisor would have a heart attack. Your environmentally conscious neighbor would stage an intervention. But here's the kicker that changes everything and makes the math work in your favor. Jim's Crown Vic will run for 20 years without a major repair. The engine is bulletproof. The transmission is simple. The electrical system was designed by people who understood that complexity is the enemy of reliability. The Prius? That hybrid battery dies at 150,000 miles and costs $4,000 to replace at the dealer. The electric motor controllers fail. The regenerative braking system needs computers that cost more than Jim's entire car. Can't put a price on that reliability. Can't put a price on knowing that when I turn the key, this car will take me wherever I need to go. If you know someone looking for a car in 2025, Send them this video so they can save thousands of dollars and years of frustration. They said hybrid technology was too complicated to last, that the batteries would die and leave you stranded. They were betting you'd never learn the truth. Maria Santos drives Uber in a 2005 Prius with 305,000 miles on the original engine, and she's become something of a legend among Denver's rideshare drivers. While other drivers are spending $60 a day on gas, Maria spends $15. While they're sitting in repair shops, she's out there making money. The hybrid system has been through hell and back, Denver traffic that stops and goes like a broken accordion. Mountain trips to ski resorts where thin air makes normal engines gasp. Summer heat that turns interiors into saunas, and winter cold that would kill a lesser battery pack. The hybrid battery did die, but not when everyone predicted. At 225,000 miles after Maria had already made back her investment twice over, the car started throwing warning lights like a Christmas tree having a seizure. The dealership wanted $2,600 for a new battery pack, but Maria found a better way that every Prius owner should know about. Here's what the dealerships don't want you to know about Prius battery replacement, and why they fight so hard to keep this information secret. They're making 400% profit on your fear. You can buy refurbished battery modules on eBay for $150 each. The Prius needs 28 modules. Do the math, and you're looking at $4,200 just for parts, right? Wrong. You don't replace all 28 modules. You test each one and replace only the bad ones. Most battery failures are actually just 2 or 3 weak modules dragging down the whole pack. It's like having one bad apple spoil the barrel, except you can just remove the bad apples. Maria spent a weekend in her garage with YouTube tutorials, a basic multimeter, and the determination of someone who wasn't going to let a dealership steal her money. She found 6 bad modules out of 28. Total cost? $900 for the modules plus $200 for new cooling fans. Best $900 I ever spent, Maria laughs, showing me her daily earnings report that would make most office workers jealous. I make that back in 2 weeks of driving. The dealership wanted $2,600 plus tax. They would have made more profit on my repair than I paid for the entire car. The car still pulls 44 miles per gallon in city driving. Still starts silently like a ghost. They convinced you that American luxury died in the 1970s, that reliability and comfort can't coexist. They never drove a LeSabre with the 3800 V6. Grandpa Joe Martinez waves from the pillow-soft front seat of his 2005 LeSabre with 246,000 miles, living proof that sometimes the best cars are the ones nobody talks about. The dashboard lights flicker like a disco ball, but Joe doesn't care because he knows what matters. All cosmetic, Joe chuckles, adjusting the bench seat that's more comfortable than most living room furniture. The 3800 V6 never quits. Never has, never will. Joe bought his LeSabre from the original owner, a retired teacher named Dorothy, who drove it to church on Sundays and the grocery store on Wednesdays. The maintenance records filled a 3-ring binder with plastic sleeves protecting every receipt like historical documents. The 3800 Series 2V6 under the hood is GM's million-mile iron block, the engine that taxi companies in New York used to buy by the hundreds because they simply wouldn't die. It's the engine that powered police cars, taxicabs, and family sedans through decades of abuse and neglect. Joe's LeSabre floats down the highway like you're riding on a cloud made of velvet and good intentions. The suspension soaks up potholes that would rattle your teeth loose in a modern car. Shop owner Dave Martinez lists the parts prices that make him want to cry. And he's not exaggerating when he says the LeSabre is the car that keeps him honest. Water pump, $45 at the parts store. Alternator, $60 if you shop around. Starter, $35 from the junkyard. I barely see these cars, Dave admits, shaking his head like a man who's watched his profit margins disappear. They just don't break. When they do need something, the parts are so cheap I feel guilty charging labor. I make more money changing oil on a BMW than I do rebuilding an engine on one of these. Dave has been running his shop for 15 years in a neighborhood where cars come to die and wallets come to empty. He's seen every kind of failure imaginable. Timing chains that stretch until they sound like maracas. Transmissions that explode like grenades. Electrical systems that would confuse the engineers who designed them, but the 3800 V6? It's the engine that pays for his kid's college by never needing expensive repairs. It's the engine that runs on regular gas, doesn't care if you're late with oil changes, and keeps running when everything else gives up. The LeSabre also gets 28 miles per gallon on the highway, which isn't bad for a car that weighs as much as a small planet. They want you to believe luxury means expensive repairs, that premium cars are money pits disguised as status symbols. The LS400 proves them wrong. The 1999 LS400 with 310,000 miles idles so quietly, you have to check the tachometer to make sure it's actually running. And that's not an accident. This is the car that shamed BMW, made Mercedes engineers lose sleep, and proved that Japanese luxury could be better than German precision. Owner David Chen bought his LS400 3 years ago for $4,800 from a retired executive who treated it like family. The leather still smells new because it's real leather, not the plastic-coated cardboard they use in modern cars. The wood trim still gleams because it's actual wood, not vinyl printed to look like wood. Parts aren't cheap, David admits, and he's not lying about this reality. An OEM alternator costs $700 from the dealer. A starter is $400. The air suspension compressor is $800. But David found a better way. The same way smart LS400 owners have been doing it for decades. He bought 2 used alternators on eBay for $90 total, one for the car, one for the garage shelf as backup. The LS400 was engineered to run for 1 million miles without breaking a sweat. Toyota spent 6 years and $1 billion developing it, testing prototypes in Death Valley until the paint melted off. All 6 survivors have crossed the 200,000-mile threshold and kept going like it was just another day at the office. They don't want you to know that high mileage doesn't mean high risk, not with the right cars. The Corolla keeps starting every morning despite the rust trying to claim it. The Civic keeps sipping gas like a hummingbird while delivering Swiss watch reliability. The Crown Vic keeps protecting its occupants with the solid confidence of American steel. The Prius keeps hybridizing its way to 44 miles per gallon while confusing people who think electric cars are a new invention. The LeSabre keeps floating down the highway like a luxury liner on wheels. The Lexus keeps purring with the quiet confidence of Japanese engineering at its absolute peak. So, which one dies first? The heartbeat builds as we watch odometers roll past numbers that would terrify most car buyers. The tension mounts as we realize these cars are just getting started. 200,000 miles isn't the end for these survivors. It's barely the middle of their story, but not every cheap car is a winner, and the graveyard of automotive dreams is littered with cars that promised reliability and delivered bankruptcy. Yet some will leave you stranded on the side of the highway, questioning every decision that led you to that moment. Others will drain your bank account faster than a casino slot machine. If this is helping you dodge financial bullets, hit subscribe, because the fail list will save you thousands. Know someone car shopping in 2025? Send this to them. Let's stop these companies from getting rich off our hard-earned cash. Because if you're not in the know, you're the one getting towed. The Nissan Altima with the CVT transmission should be avoided like food poisoning at a gas station sushi bar. The transmission dies at 80,000 miles with the reliability of a sunrise and costs $3,000 to replace in a car that's worth $2,500 on its best day. The Volkswagen Passat with the 1.8 turbo engine is a money pit disguised as German engineering. The timing chain stretches like taffy in the sun and destroys the engine when it finally snaps. Repair cost? $4,500 if you can find a shop willing to touch it. The Mini Cooper, any year, any model, any trim level, is electrical gremlins and oil consumption wrapped in a cute package. The engine burns oil like a 1970s muscle car, and the electrical system was apparently designed by people who hate electricity. The Jeep Patriot, with its CVT transmission, is somehow even worse than Nissan's version. It dies earlier, costs more to fix, and makes horrible noises while it's dying. These cars will take your $5,000, laugh while they break down, and then demand another $5,000 to fix problems that shouldn't exist. Here's the truth they're terrified you'll discover. The automotive industry has spent decades convincing you that cars are too complicated for regular people to understand. That you need their financing, their warranties, their service departments to survive. It's all a lie designed to keep you dependent. The 6 survivors I just showed you prove that reliable transportation doesn't require a computer science degree or a trust fund. A $4,000 Corolla with 200,000 miles will outlast a $40,000 SUV with a warranty. A manual transmission Civic will run circles around any CVT nightmare they're pushing on lots today. The dealers know this, the manufacturers know this, Wall Street knows this. That's why they're pushing 84-month loans on depreciating assets. That's why they're making cars more complicated every year. That's why they want you scared of high-mileage vehicles. But now, you know their secret. You know which cars laugh at 200,000 miles. You know which ones will bankrupt you before you hit 100,000. You're no longer their victim, you're their worst nightmare. A customer who knows the truth. If you made it this far, you're already ahead of 99% of car buyers in America. But knowledge without action is just expensive entertainment. Hit subscribe right now because the next wave is already forming. The 2025 market is about to get uglier, and I'll be here to guide you through it before it breaks you. Share this video with anyone you care about who's car shopping. Let's stop these companies from getting rich off people who just need reliable transportation. Download the free PDF, Cars to Avoid Buying in 2025, in the description, because what you don't know will cost you thousands. Stay sharp. The road ahead gets rougher, but now you're ready for it.